You know, I once heard an old man say something that stuck with me. He said, "If I knew I was going to live this long, I would have taken better care of myself." And I laughed because, well, there's a little truth in that, isn't there? When we're younger, we don't think about getting old. Then one day, we wake up, and our bodies remind us we're not as young as we used to be. And that's the tricky part about aging. It sneaks up on you, and before you know it, the little things start adding up. The stiffness in the morning, the extra doctor visits, the times you forget why you walked into a room. But here's the thing. Getting older doesn't mean losing control of your health. It's never too late to make changes, and sometimes it's not about what you start doing. It's about what you stop doing. Now, before we go further, I'd love to know, where are you watching from? Drop a comment below. And if anything in this video resonates with you, a like and subscribe would mean a lot. Not just because it helps the channel, but because it means we're building a space where wisdom like this can be shared. After all, isn't that what life is about? Learning, growing, and passing it on. So let's talk about it. 6 dangerous habits you need to give up after 70 if you want to live longer and healthier. Some of these might surprise you, but they're important. And the sooner you let them go, the better your body and mind will feel. Habit number 1, holding on to stress. Like an old friend. Let's start with something that most people ignore. Stress. You see, stress is tricky. It's not always loud. It doesn't always look like someone pulling their hair out or yelling in frustration. Sometimes it's quiet. It hides in the tension in your shoulders, the tightness in your chest, the restless nights where your mind won't shut off. And the worst part? Some of us have lived with it for so long that we don't even realize it's there. But here's the truth. Stress is a slow poison. At 70, 75, or 80 years old, your body doesn't handle stress the way it used to. When you were younger, you could bounce back. Your heart could take it. Your immune system could fight through it. But as you age, stress becomes more dangerous. It raises blood pressure, weakens the heart, messes with your digestion, and even speeds up memory loss. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but I don't feel stressed. And that's exactly the problem. Many people don't realize how much stress they're carrying until their body starts breaking down. So what do you do about it? Well, the first step is recognizing it. Ask yourself, do I dwell on things that are out of my control? Do I carry past regrets or old grudges like a heavy suitcase? Do I let small things irritate me more than they should? If you said yes to any of these, then it's time to start letting go. Because here's the hard truth. Not everything is worth your peace. At this stage of life, you've earned the right to choose your battles. And most of them, they're not worth fighting. One of the best things you can do is practice mental filtering. Imagine your mind like a sieve. Let the small annoyances slip through. Let go of what doesn't serve you. Because the less stress you carry, the lighter your body feels. And trust me, your heart will thank you for it. Another thing? Find your release valve. Some people meditate. Some people walk. Some talk to their grandkids and laugh about silly things. Whatever it is, find it and do it often. Your body knows how to heal. It just needs you to stop getting in its way. Now, we've already talked about stress, the silent killer that sneaks up on you. And if you haven't thought about how much weight you're carrying in your mind, I hope you take a moment to sit with that. Because holding on to stress at 70, 75, or 80, it's like carrying a bag of rocks on a weak back. It's only going to break you down faster. But stress isn't the only thing silently cutting away at your health. Let's move to something just as dangerous, something that's ruining the bodies of thousands of elderly people every day. It's neglecting movement. Habit number 2, letting your body sit still for too long. I want you to picture an old machine, maybe a car or a bicycle that hasn't been used in years. What happens to it? The parts start to rust. The gears don't move as smoothly. The engine doesn't start as easily. And eventually, it just stops working altogether. Now, the human body? It's the same way. One of the worst things you can do as you age is stop moving. And I get it. By the time you reach 70 or 80, your body doesn't work the way it used to. Your knees creak, your back tightens up, and some mornings it takes a little longer just to get out of bed. But here's what most people don't realize. The less you move, the harder it gets. When you don't use your muscles, they start shrinking. When you don't stretch, your joints stiffen up. When you sit too long, your circulation slows, your heart weakens, and your bones start losing strength. This is why people who stay inactive in old age age even faster. They start falling more. They start losing their balance. And suddenly, one small accident turns into a major health crisis. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but I'm too old to exercise. No, you're not. I'm not telling you to go run a marathon. I'm not telling you to lift heavy weights or do anything that hurts. But what I am saying is, you need to move every single day. Think about it like this. Your body doesn't need intense workouts. It just needs to be used. Walk around the house. Stand up and stretch every hour. If you can, take short walks outside. If walking is difficult, try chair exercises. The key is consistency. Because once you stop moving, the body starts shutting down. And once that happens, it's hard to get it back. There's a saying I like, you don't stop moving because you get old. You get old because you stop moving. And I promise you it's true. So if you've been spending too much time sitting, change that today. Your body will thank you for it. But movement is just one part of the equation. Because the next habit, it's something that people overlook every single day, and it's causing serious harm to their bodies, especially at this age. Habit number 3, eating like you're still 40. Let's talk about food. Now, I want you to think about how you ate when you were younger. Maybe you could eat big meals without gaining much weight. Maybe you could get away with eating fried foods, sugar, and processed junk, and your body just handled it. But now the same foods don't sit right. They cause bloating, discomfort, or worse, high blood pressure, diabetes, heart problems. Here's the truth that a lot of people don't like to hear. Your body is different now, and it has different needs. What you eat in your 70s and 80s determines how well your body functions. And if you're still eating the same way you did decades ago, you're making it harder for your body to keep up. So what should you avoid? Highly processed foods, anything that comes in a box, bag, or package, and is loaded with preservatives. These foods cause inflammation, slow digestion, and make you feel sluggish. Too much sugar. Sugar speeds up aging. It weakens the immune system, causes joint pain, and increases the risk of diseases like Alzheimer's. Excessive salt. Too much salt raises blood pressure and puts unnecessary strain on your heart. Instead, focus on foods that fuel your body, not work against it. Leafy greens and colorful vegetables keep your digestion strong and fight inflammation. Healthy fats like olive oil, nuts, and avocados keep your brain sharp and your joints flexible. Lean proteins like fish, eggs, and beans keep your muscles strong. Water. Yes, water. Most older adults don't drink enough, and dehydration causes fatigue, confusion, and even dizziness that can lead to falls. But here's the biggest thing. Eat lighter. Your metabolism has slowed down, which means your body doesn't process food the way it used to. Overeating, especially heavy, greasy foods, puts stress on your digestive system, making you feel tired and bloated. And listen, I'm not saying you should never enjoy your favorite foods. Life is meant to be enjoyed, but moderation is everything. The way you eat today decides how strong you feel tomorrow. So make it a habit to choose foods that support your body, not work against it. Now, at this point, you might be thinking, all right, stress, movement, food, I get it. But what else could be harming me? Well, I'll tell you. So far, we've talked about three major habits that could be cutting your life short: stress, lack of movement, and poor eating habits. These are the things that slowly wear down your body, making you weaker, more tired, and more vulnerable to illness. And if you've been paying attention, I hope you've already started thinking about which ones you need to let go of. But now, we're going to move into something just as dangerous. And this one isn't just about your body, it's about your mind. Because while people spend a lot of time worrying about physical health, they often ignore the one thing that has the greatest impact on their well-being: their thoughts. Habit number 4: letting loneliness and isolation take over. Let's talk about something that doesn't get enough attention: loneliness. Most people don't realize that loneliness is just as deadly as smoking or heart disease. In fact, studies have shown that seniors who feel isolated have a higher risk of dying early, not just because of depression, but because loneliness actually weakens the immune system, increases inflammation, and even speeds up cognitive decline. And here's where it gets tricky. Loneliness isn't always obvious. Some people feel lonely because they've lost their spouse, others because their children have moved away or are too busy. Some have outlived their friends. And some just don't have the energy or motivation to go out and be social anymore. And at first, you might not think it's a big deal. You get used to the quiet. You tell yourself you're fine. But over time, that loneliness turns into isolation. And that's where the real danger begins. You start talking to people less. You stop going out. You stop engaging with the world around you. And little by little, your mind starts closing in on itself. Here's the thing. Humans aren't meant to be alone. At this stage of life, you need connection more than ever. You need conversations, laughter, companionship, and reasons to keep looking forward to tomorrow. Without it, your mind starts to weaken, and your body follows. So what can you do? Make an effort to reach out. Call a friend. Send a message. Even if you haven't talked in years, reconnect. Join a group or club, whether it's a senior center, a book club, or a religious gathering. Having a community gives you purpose. Get outside. Even if you don't have people to visit, go where people are: the park, the grocery store, a coffee shop. Just being around people makes a difference. Talk to family, even if they're busy. Kids and grandkids might have their own lives, but that doesn't mean they don't want to hear from you. Sometimes they just need a reminder. I know loneliness isn't an easy thing to talk about, but if you feel isolated, you have to do something about it. Because the longer you wait, the harder it gets to come back. Now, this next habit, it's one that people don't think about until it's too late. And if you're guilty of it, it could be taking years off your life. Habit number 5, ignoring sleep like it doesn't matter. Let's be honest, most people don't take sleep seriously. For decades, you might have gotten used to running on little sleep. Maybe you worked long hours, raised a family, or just never needed much rest. But at this stage of life, your body needs sleep more than ever. And yet, so many seniors ignore their sleep problems. Some people struggle to fall asleep. Others wake up too often in the night. And some just assume that sleeping poorly is a normal part of aging. But let me tell you something, poor sleep is one of the biggest threats to your health. When you don't sleep well, your brain can't repair itself properly. Your memory suffers. Your heart works harder than it should. Your immune system weakens. Your risk of falls, confusion, and even strokes goes up. And here's what most people don't realize. Sleep isn't just about the number of hours. It's about quality. If you're waking up tired, groggy, or unfocused, something is wrong. And the longer you ignore it, the worse it gets. So what can you do? Fix your sleep environment. A cool, dark, quiet room makes a big difference. Avoid screens before bed. Phones and TVs trick your brain into staying awake longer. Stick to a schedule. Go to bed and wake up at the same time every day, even on weekends. Cut back on caffeine and alcohol. These both mess with deep sleep, even if you don't realize it. Talk to a doctor if necessary. If you have sleep apnea, restless legs, or other issues, don't ignore them. I know it's easy to shrug off sleep problems, but let me tell you, if you want to live longer, better, and sharper, you need to fix your sleep. We've covered a lot so far: stress, lack of movement, poor eating habits, loneliness, and sleep problems. These are all things that can quietly take years off your life, making you weaker, more tired, and more vulnerable to illness. But there's still one more dangerous habit left to talk about. And this one? It's all in your mind. Habit number 6. Believing that it's too late to change. Now, I want you to be honest with yourself for a second. How many times have you caught yourself thinking, "I'm too old for that," or "What's the point of changing now?" How many times have you stopped yourself from trying something new, learning something different, or making a change just because you thought it was too late? Let me tell you something. That kind of thinking will age you faster than anything else. Because the truth is, the moment you believe you're too old to grow, to improve, to experience new things, that's the moment you start shutting down. Your body follows what your mind believes. If your mind says, "I'm done," your body will start acting like it. But listen, you're not done. Not even close. There are people learning to paint in their 80s. There are people starting new friendships, finding love, writing books, dancing, traveling, and trying things they never thought they could. And do you know what separates them from the ones who don't? Mindset. So let's get rid of some of those old, limiting beliefs right now. I'm too old to get healthier. No, you're not. Your body responds to what you give it. Better food, movement, and rest can still improve your health, no matter how old you are. I'm too set in my ways to change. That's just an excuse. Change is a choice. The only question is whether you're willing to make it. It's too late for me to learn something new. Nonsense. Your brain wants to be challenged. Learning keeps it sharp and reduces the risk of dementia. Nobody cares what I have to say. That's not true. The world needs your wisdom, your experiences, and your stories. Share them. The only real barrier between you and a better life is what you believe is possible. And if you let go of the belief that it's too late, you'll be shocked at how much life you still have left to live. So what happens now? Now that we've talked about these 6 dangerous habits, it's time for action. Because just hearing this isn't enough. You have to do something about it. So here's what I want you to do. Take a moment and ask yourself, which of these 6 habits do I need to let go of? What small change can I make starting today to live a healthier, longer life? It doesn't have to be something big. Maybe it's calling an old friend. Maybe it's taking a short walk. Maybe it's just deciding right now that you're not going to let stress, loneliness, or negative thinking control your life anymore. Because small steps lead to big changes. And remember, you're not alone in this. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Which of these habits have you struggled with the most? Let's start a conversation. And if you found any value in this video, a like and subscribe would mean a lot. Not just for me, but because it helps spread this wisdom to others who need it. Because at the end of the day, life isn't about how many years you've lived. It's about how well you live the years you have left. And that's something you have the power to control.